You gonna play that dastardly intro again?
Ow! This movie's still fine.
There's a collie pasta.
One of them dies, that guy's Squirrel. One of them's a hottie, his name is Jack. One of them looks like Johnny Depp, and his name is Johnny Depp.
Classic Maximum Joseph.
You forget that films are supposed to have a point.
Welcome to the worst idea of all time, episode
54.
Who's to say? 54. My name is Tim Bat, and I'm talking to you from New Zealand.
That's right. My name is Guy Montgomery. I am talking to you from Sydney, Australia, and this week we're joined by a special guest, comic and improviser and friend to all, Carlo Ritchie.
Oh my
Guy.
God,
Hello, Tim.
Carlo
Yeah, you knew he
Ritchie's
was
here.
Yeah, you knew he was here, Tim, but you played the fool well. You could have fooled me.
What I'm doing is I'm engaging in a little something called being the audience surrogate. So I'm kind of like their vehicle for emotion, you know? We can't hear the audience, of course, Guy, but I'm acting as their conduit.
Right.
Well, through you we can,
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
we, Tim?
And
Yeah,
have you ever tried
exactly.
logging on? They got a lot of opinions, man. And I tell you what, they want down with Tim Bat.
Yeah, they're saying some very intense things about you over here, Tim. Very intense.
And that's why
Very
Guy was the one to
racially
go,
charged.
and I was the one to stay.
That's right. It's important, of course. I don't know if we've said it, but Carl and I are recording from Sydney, Australia. And Tim is in the beautiful suburb of Grey Lynn in Auckland City in his studio there.
True enough.
And now, for you and I, Tim, this is the 54th time we've seen this movie.
Yes.
Which makes for quite an experience. For Carlo, I
The
understand...
55th.
This was,
55th, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I have my own podcast. It's called The Best Idea of All Time, and I watch one of my favourite films every week.
Wow. It's going to provide a very interesting flavour to your spot on
It's
the
a-
worst idea of all time.
It's a very neat crossover because this week I don't have to watch it from my own means. I get to watch it through your lens, and that's exciting for me.
I guess, well, I can't wait to hear your unflappably enthusiastic opinion of this film after your
Okay.
55th screening.
Ready to tuck in.
Now, when I first... you go,
Hold
Tim.
on for a second. Carlo Ritchie, I want to hear your unflappable opinion of this film also. Let's cut to the chase. Let's give the people what they want. They want Carlo, uncut.
Well, look, I've said this once. I've said it 55 times.
Yes.
This film is pure cinema gold. Cellulose gold. Celluloid gold. Cellular gold.
It's
from
cellular gold.
From the opening credits to the German text right through to the end to the credits, it's an hour and a half of pure magic.
That's good. So you also, in your 54 previous screenings, have watched the illegal German stream that I often defer to when I'm not with Tim.
That's what we call in the business der beste Film.
The best of film.
Or das beste Film, yeah.
Is that German for the best?
The best film.
I don't speak the language, but I've got a very keen ear. Oh, wow, man. I got to say, I didn't notice any of this positivity emanating from your body while we were watching the movie together.
Guy, I held it in.
Well, I mean, this experience runs entirely contrary to you, Tim, who before we started recording had a very cold, dead look in your eyes and said that was challenging.
It was a very challenging watch. I didn't enjoy it. Never liked the watches by myself. And what I did, Guy, I'll tell you what I did, shall I? Would you like me to
Well,
let you
I
know
think you're going to.
what's happened here? Because if I may, if you just give me a moment, I'll tell you what's happened here. If I could just stop you for 1 second, I'll let you know what I've done. I just want to, if you don't mind. Yeah, I just want to get on and let everyone know
go
what
ahead.
I did in my bit over here.
What? In your own
So
time.
you just hold your horses there, Monty, because I just want to tell everyone what's happened over here.
Consider my horses
At
wrangled and held,
Castle
Tim.
Yeah, so here at the podcast Fortress, what I did is I didn't want the very loud heater to be going while I was recording, you see. So I cranked the heat up to the maximum up until the point when we started recording. So the temperature will naturally form a curvature downwards and approach a normal kind of operating environment at some stage, hopefully before long. But right now I'm in the sweltering heat while it is a decidedly wintry day outside. So it's quite weird looking out and seeing a very grey environment, but experiencing a kind of tropical climate yourself. And I'm just hoping that the temp drops off reasonably quickly.
You're wearing an incredibly thick denim jacket as well for those listening at home.
It's
It can't
open
be
though.
helping
It's
things.
unbuttoned.
And now, do you imagine that cranking the heat up to literally as high as it will go in that very small confined area we usually watch the film and helped the viewing experience, or maybe sort of changed the intensity for the worse?
So it probably cancelled itself out, because while there was a very high probability of a fire hazard and a large flame engulfing the small studio and myself, that was the sort of adrenaline rush of that was counteracted by the fact that I was getting very sleepy and warm due to the temperature. So I've kind of muddled through.
Sounds incredibly dangerous.
It does, doesn't it? When you put those two things together, it wasn't until I said it out loud that I realised what a dire circumstance I potentially put myself in just now.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you here with us, Tim.
Me too. It's good to be here.
Yeah,
Good to be anywhere.
And well, isn't it? It's good to be alive. And how's life for you, man? Where did this slot into your day?
It's morning. I got up and I did my ritualistic walk to the cafe to grab a cup of coffee, because it's how I like to.
What makes it ritualistic? Is there some...
I have
is it
to-
just the regularity, or
No.
is it there some sort of spiritual aspect to it?
Carlo, I won't lie to you, and I wasn't going to bring this on the podcast, but guys are already aware of it, but I kill a bunch of cats on my way there during the walk.
You're doing your part.
For
Some
what?
would say
For
that.
who?
Well, you don't want cats walking around.
A lot
No.
of people do. People with pet
Not
cats.
me.
That's exactly what they want.
Well, Tim's doing his part. I'm doing my part.
What are you
We're
doing?
all doing our part. Why do you think I keep the bath full of water all day?
Oh, because you like to have baths. That's what you said when you showed me around the house. You said,
Yeah.
"That's the bath full of my bathing water."
Well, I've really pulled the wool over your eyes, or as I like to say, the cat fur over your face while you're asleep.
So why is your bath always full of water?
Can't
He's drowning
drown a
cats
cat.
in there, guy. I don't want to burst your bubble over there or, ruin your naivete. Is that how you
What-
say
no,
that word?
Naivete.
Thank you.
Navajo.
Bless you.
Idaho, I believe.
Yes.
It's actually, it's spelled Arkansas, but it's pronounced Arkansas. Oh man, Carlo! Because for those of you listening, I'm staying with Carlo presently in his beautiful home. He's hosting me. If we can
Host
get a
the
little
men,
crossover
kill
there.
the cats. That's what he's always
Yeah,
said.
and you specifically said to me, you said, "Hey man, I'd really love you could bring me some like kittens if you could stop by in the airport on the way back from the airport." And
Love
just
kittens.
Yeah.
Drowning them.
Yeah, specifically. Everyone loves kittens, but Carlo loves them in a very particular way.
Oh man, I'm
When
sorry.
they cease to be kittens and start to be, well, I guess, like a furry stone, I suppose.
My understanding, Carlo, is that this love of yours began with a foray into amateur taxidermy, but then the way I heard it, you got so enamored with the idea of simply killing the animal and less intrigued with the idea of stuffing them afterwards that you essentially become some sort of animal serial killer.
Yes, well, I mean, it's a treacherous slope, the world in taxidermy. But many of those who have walked its roads will find find their way in their own sense.
That's right. The press call you the cat killer, but you call yourself a failed taxidermist.
That's what I've got on the cards.
Carlo Ritchie failed taxidermist.
I get halfway
It's
there.
a hell of a business card. It'll really stop you in your tracks, As a man who goes to a lot of business conferences, a lot of mixers, I get a lot of cards, but nothing's quite stopped me in my tracks like Carlo Ritchie's failed taxidermist introduction on paper. Hell of a thing.
No.
Collector's
Yeah.
item.
Certainly not helping the comedy career.
Well, no, it wouldn't. I mean, it's a terrifying thing to hand to a manager. Now, Carlo, obviously, on the best idea of all time, your flailing podcast, which sort of, laps this by one. You like to champion in the film We Are Your Friends. And often here at Worst Idea of All Time, we do our best, but it can be a struggle. So I turn to you and ask, what about the film this week really spun your wheels?
Oh, there's so many good points in this film.
Well, you created a narrative throughout the entire screening experience that We Are Your Friends reflects
the Russian anarchist revolution in the 1920s, and I think a lot of people probably be on board with that. If you sort of
Carlo, I know you don't listen to our podcast, but we have talked about that so many fucking times. You're going to bore everyone by bringing it up again.
Yeah, sorry, Tim.
But go ahead. Obviously,
there is. I think that opening shot of him with got his anarchist symbol there beside the laptop. He's turning up the gain. I mean, from that, I thought, yeah, here we go. Russian Spring, 1920. Take me there. And the film continued to impress upon that point. I think we saw the proletariat struggling to take back the means of production. And unfortunately, the revolution was corrupted. And, well, you know, when you betray the revolution and its ideals, you only betray yourself, don't you?
Who was the proletariat in the film, and who was the Tsar?
I saw Cole as the proletariat, and his friend James Reed, the DJ. I felt like he was a former leader of the anarchist movement who had been co-opted by the bourgeois,
the oligarchy,
the oligarchies. The Tsarist forces. And it was really a struggle between those two ideas. Jarhead was, of course, Ukraine.
As he always is, week in, week out.
No, it's
No, hold on. I want to hear more about Jarhead being Ukraine. I'm very intrigued by this.
Well, there's that line where he comes out and he says, while the Tsar might take our bread, he can never take our ideas. And that's when I clued in. I said, I grabbed Guy. I said, "See, this is what I'm talking about, man."
I'll say the same thing to you now that I said then, Carlo. I'm not hearing the same dialogue that you are.
I think it's because you spiked me with PvP just before
PCP.
PCP.
I would never spike you with PvP. I have too much respect for you.
Yeah, well, no, it's one reading among what I imagine are hundreds.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many ways you can watch this film. As detailed in both of our respective podcasts, the best and, of course, worst idea of all time. And over there in your pressure cooker, Tim, did anyone turn in a powerhouse performance this week that really got you going, or was anyone dragging the chain?
First, I would just like to share with you, I'm going to make this my shining light, actually, because I cracked up with no one in particular, just sitting by myself watching the film. When Jarhead, they've just got the house, and they're going out to go for their first swim in the new pool. Not a looking pool. For this one is a diving pool.
Mm-hmm.
And Jarhead yells out, "Do a backflip, Squirrel," to a man who isn't even able to get his pants off on concrete. And there's just something so funny about getting someone who's failing and asking them to do a far more complicated job than they're already not doing, which I love. So I was very tickled by the fact that we're watching a man about to absolutely damage himself on the hard concrete outside, accompanied by Jay going, "Hey dude, I see you, do a backflip." It's bloody good stuff.
That is good. And that's a testament to the film itself. I mean, that's not even an obtuse shining light that you've sort of, side-angled in. That's script, writing, acting, editing.
I'll tell you who did a good job this week, and that's Megan Oppenheimer, because I presume Maximum Joseph couldn't come up with this perler. But you'll both be well aware of the magical moment where they first enter into the apartment, and Jarhead says, "What do you give to the man who has everything?" and then reveals more mirror for Johnny Depp's wall, and his answer to that rhetorical question is, "Just more of that man." And I have long since held that is the possibly greatest line in the whole film. And I Googled it to see if they were quoting someone, and I don't think they are. I think they wrote that. I think Megan Oppenheimer wrote that for the script, and I'm so impressed.
Yeah, Carlo spoke over the line and just said the word mirrors. That is essentially what he's giving him. Just a bunch of mirrors.
What do you give to the man who has everything? Antibiotics. Because he's got everything. You see?
I think by then he's beyond help, though.
Yeah,
Let's be
you're probably
honest.
right. Thanks, Carlo. It's a good thing you're here.
Band-aid on a bullet wound. Well, your son is gravely ill. Somehow he has, got every single disease. So we're going to give him some mirrors.
We're going to have mirrors are the answer.
More of him. No, we don't want more of him.
The whole family will get sick.
No, you don't want to spread this. Contain it.
Shall I share my shining light with you?
No, because
there
I
you
want
go.
to share another victory from Megan Oppenheimer, and that I'm just going to keep going briefly, guy, if you'll excuse me.
No,
Haven't been
by all
able to
means.
talk or see anyone in an hour and a half. It's been very lonely in here. Just want to get it
You
out.
are sweating profusely.
You don't look well, Tim.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't what I call a healthy environment for a man to be in. There's a line that Jahid delivers. This house is going to get us arrested, he says. And the prescience, the foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Mwah.
I mean,
People at home can't see
once
this, but I
again-
did the chef admiring their own meal with a kiss on their own hand. Mwah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Horribly unhygienic. But it is prescient, in a bizarro universe where there are consequences for these characters' actions. But once again, and we are your friends, the house isn't going to get them arrested. Being responsible for the manslaughter of their friend Squirrel isn't going to get them arrested.
Yeah, there wasn't
Imagine if
enough
it really... Sorry, I was just going to say, imagine if it was actually the house that got them arrested. Like the house was haunted and kind of alive, and it booked them like a cop.
Well, so
House cop.
Uh,
I think that it is now haunted. I mean, Squirrel's part of the house.
True.
And do you know his ghostly song that blows through the house when you least want to hear it? It's Squirrel whispering the lyrics to Santeria by Sublime.
Oh, gross.
I do like the idea that one of the conditions that the person who rented the house to Jarhead was that if you can all survive a single night, your first night in the house, you can have it for free.
It's $700 a month, or I have this
You
house.
can
And Jahid, every time it gets me, Jahid knows that Squirrel's going to die. He gives him the grand tour, and he's like, Zaccoli, you got to put some foam on these walls so we can do terrible things without the echoes escaping to the world.
Drown a bunch of cats, as is our
Yeah.
want.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny
Gotta
Depp,
soundproof.
you just stay in this room and look at yourself for as long as it takes you not to fuck everything up again. And
Wasn't that
Squirrel-
literally a Greek parable? Who was the guy who was full of himself and fell in love with his reflection in a pool of water?
I think that was a dog with a bone. And the dog tries to get the other dog's bone, but little does he know that's his bone. And then he gave the bone to a fish. So he gives him this tour, and he goes, so here you go, Zaccoli, here you go, Johnny Depp, and this is my room. And we don't see the scene, but I imagine there's a scene where Squirrel goes, hey, what about me, man? Where am I going to sleep? And he goes, oh, no, someone's going to die tonight. And you're quite light of frame, so it's probably going to be you, dude.
We have done a sweepstakes, and unfortunately, I win if you die, so there will be consequences to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Poor fucker, eh? That poor wee fucker. That's what I think each week.
Yeah. I'm interested. Did you think that the death of Squirrel was earned by the script in the film?
They certainly built him up to be the bad guy.
Squirrel.
Yeah. I felt like justice was done when they got Squirrel.
You thought justice was done, Carlo Ritchie.
Yeah,
when they
it
killed
was
Squirrel of a drug
but-
overdose.
It was preceded by Squirrel saying he was talking about leaving the gang, and the gang doesn't deal kindly with people who are trying to leave the gang.
The proletariat does not deal.
If Squirrel wants to betray the revolution, he's going to be the first against the wall.
Far out, man.
What other antagonistic actions that Squirrel took out during the film were you glad to see?
There's a lot of scenes where he touches the tip of his cap and just stares at other characters with a menace, a menace that I think is unbecoming of any true friend of the gang.
The proletariat specialise in menacing glares towards the ruling class. They must.
I think the bigger question that the film never addresses is whose car do they use once Squirrel is dead?
Oh, man.
How do they get around after that?
Uber, I guess. God, that's
Unless
expensive.
Squirrel had a life insurance policy and they were the benefactors.
In which case, I'd be doing some serious investigation of the gang.
Fucking A. Yeah, that's House Cop's job now. The house
This
that's
is
a cop
exactly-
because it's haunted by a dead, drug overdosed young man who always wanted to be something more than he was. And the maximum you can be is a law enforcement officer. Welcome to House Cop.
I struggle to imagine what about Squirrel's life so far would inspire him to take out a life insurance policy.
Because he's a forward planner, dude. We know he's the smartest member of the gang. He went to university. We know that from the press junket interviews he did with Zaystron. You know, we're all there.
One week, Tim and I watched all of the behind-the-scenes interviews,
Oh
and
my
we got a
goodness.
lot more exposition than you do in the film.
A lot of scenes on the
Yeah.
cutting room floor.
It'd be fair to say that the actors in this film thought they were making something altogether different.
A full multimedia experience, not just a movie in its standard sense. They were kicking the tires on a whole new way of disseminating information with this film's release. So we'll give you 30% during the picture that you've paid to see, but you got to watch all the press interviews to get the full story. Hey, but
And
what
if
do
you
you?
really want to know the actual ending of the film, you're going to have to track down Megan Oppenheimer in her writing cave.
Here's your treasure
and
map.
answer 3 riddles.
There's clues hidden throughout the film.
Yeah.
If you can piece them together, it makes a map.
That's right. And then if you get that map and you place it over the screen while you watch the film, it's the actual 1920s Russia overlay that the film is meant to be set inside of.
I mean, I'm really interested to get your guys' thoughts on House Cop, just as an idea. Do you think this thing will fly?
I love the idea of this house, this self-policing house, and it just like the turnover tenants would be so high. So like you've got a great vehicle for a series there. You know, every week some new people come into the house.
Yeah.
Some sort of crime, maybe real
house-related crime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
I mean, it could be drowning cats. It could be running the heater too long. I'm just plucking random things out of the air here.
At random, too.
You can imagine, after like a few years, when everyone's like, "Oh, that's the old haunted house on the hill. Don't go up there." They say you can hear the whispers of Santeria by Sublime, as sung by a squirrel,
It's
and
scary.
then some young guy who's down on his luck. He needs to earn a bit of cash, a bit of money. He does a B&E. He breaks into House Cop. Oh my God, I'd love to see that.
A house called Justice.
Yeah, the name of
Cop,
the
a house
house
called
is
Justice.
Justice.
Oh, yeah.
Justice House Cop.
That's
And,
neat because
yeah,
Justice
I mean,
provide the theme song for this movie.
yes, because the Paris, they've got some really good music coming out of France right now. To misquote our friend.
God, that scene tickles me every week.
It's such a
How
waste
many-
of time,
how many-
isn't it? What
how
are we
many
doing in the
cities
car?
Do you think James Reed from the Feelers can actually retain in his head? Like, how
and a
many
half.
jump cuts do you need in one scene of someone just listing place names?
Yeah. The jump cut's the thing that does it, eh? If it was like, I'm going to ask a question, I'll get an answer. I mean, it's still a waste of time, us being part of that. But we're there, whatever. But the fact that they jump cut it to suggest that he's named like 200 countries. Why?
And some of the jump cuts, it's like half of it is him saying Dubai, and then the cut is to a different shot of him finishing the word Dubai.
He's been saying Dubai 600 times in a row.
It's like, hey, where's Bentley? You're doing a great job as the character James Reed from the Feelers, but you're going to need to stop saying Dubai. We're shooting this on celluloid, and we are running out of film.
I tell you what, though, this house cop named Justice, in my head, the house can kind of move slightly as well, but it's a big lumbering
It's
mess.
a very small amount. I think it's got to be a small amount, like a kind of a glacial movement.
Very much so.
It's very patient.
But it moves like we do. It's not kind of magical. Like it breaks its foundations when it tries to get up, and it sort of moves one foot of the house and then the other. You know when you're shifting a big heavy cardboard box and you kind of shunt it one side and then the other? It's like a fridge.
Yeah.
That's how
Or like Baba
Justice
Yaga,
moves.
like Baba Yaga, the Russian fairy tale about a house with the legs of a chicken that goes around trying to find children.
How big is the chicken that the legs
It's
are
like
from?
big chicken legs. Big chicken legs.
Yeah, so
Or-
proportionate
and
to the house, kind of
like
normal, except
ha-
that they're not normal.
Well, the house is smaller than a normal house, but the legs are way bigger than a normal
So
chicken's legs.
is the house the size of, say, an ordinary chicken's body?
Oh no, at least a lot bigger than that.
At least the metric a lot bigger than that.
Yeah, a lot being 20 times.
A house that's 20 times the size of a chicken.
Yeah.
Guy,
Is this
did you have the...
Oh, you go.
I was going to ask about your shining light, but please continue to talk about, what is it called? Baba Gum, what?
Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga.
What? Can you just give us the sort of the cliff notes on the story of Baba Yaga?
Baba Yaga was a witch. She lived in a house, and the house had chicken legs, and it would walk around, and it'd be kids not taking care of their chooks. I guess I'm not sure of the folklore behind what the kids were doing wrong, but Baba Yaga would be there to bloody spook them and get them back on the right path. Or
horrifying fairy tale.
yeah, it's a dark place, man.
The kids don't even know what they're doing wrong, and they're just being spooked by this chicken house.
Yeah, but it fits very neatly. It dovetails very neatly with this pursuit of justice as the house cop, and also with the very, very precise and intricate overlay of the Russian Revolution that the film has.
And Baba Yaga, does the house with the chicken legs whisper ska music as well? Or is that just Justice House Cop doing that? Do you
Just
think?
house cop. That's a house cop thing.
Yeah, gotcha.
Site specific.
Baba Yaga would sort of sing Russian folk songs, I guess.
Could you perhaps sing one of those Russian folk songs for us now?
No, it'd be racist.
No, I'd really like to hear it, actually. Carlo.
Well, I mean,
But if what you do is offensive, you will alienate, our core
your best
listeners.
Russian.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, the Russians are the only thing that's keeping this podcast alive right now.
Yeah.
I've seen the
Big
stats, Carlo. He's not lying. We're
Well,
like the Trump
so-
administration. We need them.
Ayo,
Here he is.
holy. Look at the real world busting its way into our podcast.
Sunday morning in
Sorry,
Sydney.
get out of here. Things that are happening. Don't, it's gone now.
Are you yelling at your room?
My hot room. Yes.
You are very hot, aren't you, Tim?
Yeah.
He's
hot.
cracked.
Hot under the collar. I will tell you my shining light, Tim. And
So
you, Carlo. Tell
glad
both of you.
to hear it.
So there's after Zaccoli goes out, gets spiked with PCP, big night on the Terps with James Reed from the Feelers, wakes up in his house, plays him his shitty song through his iPhone speakers. And it was actually refreshing to watch that with you this week because you laughed at the notion that they were making him do this. It's so humiliating. But then Somali gives him a ride in their car, right? And that's meant to be the planting of the seed of the notion they have chemistry, which is absolute horseshit. And then the next scene, he arrives on the hilltop where he meets up with the fuck boys to exchange money. And there's a shot in between their trip in the car and him arriving at the spot with the boys. And the shot is just a front-on shot of the car that Somali is driving, accompanied by the sound effect of, which I will do my best to recreate for you right now, vroom! And it's like, it's like the PowerPoint equivalent of transitional shots. Like, it's everything except for a star wipe and the screeching brake sound, which is my favorite feature of PowerPoint. And I was like, how can you, I haven't noticed this 53 times before, but how can you put this in your movie?
Oh boy, but I mean, it took 54 watches of the thing to pick it up, so they did good ultimately, right?
Well, I guess if you want to bury shitty shots in your film, yeah. Mission
I'm getting
accomplished.
quite a severe headache in here. I will not lie.
Yeah, you look like you're really up against
Yeah,
it.
you're really struggling here, aren't you, Tim?
Yep.
Carly, you've given us some highlights from your time watching the film, but do you have a specific shining light that you'd like to share?
I think for a shining light, I would say there's the scene in the first scene in the nightclub that they're promoting, I'd say the meson scene in that scene is particularly good. There's a shot where he sees her, and they shoot it right down this long tunnel of people. There's no one in between it. It's quite a nice shot to establish that he was interested in that character.
That's right.
I don't remember her name.
Somali.
Say again.
Somali. We call her Somali.
Somali. You know, just a shot straight down a line of dancing people. And it's just fun for me. I said this to you at the time, Guy. What's very fun to me was to imagine at that point there was just a whole bunch of people all dancing in complete quietness with this huge line between them, between him and her, and that tickled me.
Yeah. You really got a kick out of the idea that all of the extras were just writhing around in deathly silence. And you know, Carlo, ever an astute observer of the human condition and filmmaking techniques, after Somali's first scene, when he says, no, I don't promote here, my friends do, and she walks away, Carlo turned to me and he looked me dead in the eyes, he said, I get the feeling we'll be hearing from her again.
He's so good, isn't he, that Carlo? He's perceptive.
Yeah,
it's kind of this whole deal.
I said, nah, man, absolutely not.
You tried to trick him.
Well, it's weird because Guy told me that the other character that comes back that looks exactly like her is actually her twin. And
a classic mix-up.
I guess a lot of that's covered in the expositional videos that you guys have watched.
Yeah, it's in the press junket. It's all there.
It must be tough for you to have watched this 55 times with only 30% of the context for the film.
It makes a big difference.
Oh man, Tim, it's really tough to watch you right now. It genuinely feels like you're expiring.
No, I'm good. I googled the word assemblage, I won't lie to you, to see what that was all about, because it's in the film, and it means exactly what you think it is. It's just the sort of art or process of putting things together or assembling. So it's usually an art refers to collages. And I was just disappointed to find out that a word meant exactly what I guessed it probably did, you know?
Were you pleased to discover that you are more intelligent than the two lead characters in this film?
Nope.
And when you watch a movie, do you assume you are less smart, as smart, or more smart than the characters?
It's a good question.
The answer is yes.
Well,
I do.
I think you have answered the question there, Tim, without answering it in a way.
Thank you.
Whenever I watch a picture, I always assume that I'm less smart, because I was always taught when you go to the movies that they were the golden gods who are our heroes, and they can do no wrong.
Yeah. So who imparted this lesson on you?
Just terrifying.
So you can't see this, but Tim, as if to try and throw us off from our conversation, has taken the camera on his phone, which is what we're speaking to him through right now, and put it up as close as you can possibly get to his eyes without losing the context that you're looking at a human eye.
He's really cracked in the heat.
I wanted to freak you guys out a little bit. Worked, huh?
And it worked.
Yeah, but also I do genuinely worry for your health right now, Tim. You're battling hard.
Don't worry about old Timbo. He's fine. He's all right. He's a battler.
So usually when you say that, you sort of have a run-on sentence where you start some crazy highfalutin theory or something to support your statement. But now you just taper out to silence.
Nah, not today, buddy. Not today. Not in this heat.
Are you saying, no, I'm not tapering out into silence? Or
I guess now that you mention it, I kind of did trail off at the end there. It's just so damn hot in this room, you boys. You got no idea. I thought it would get less hot, but it feels like it's getting more hot. I don't know how that's even possible.
Take off your jacket.
Yeah, I'm going to do that, actually. Yeah. You cover.
Oh, you poor bastard. Any performances you enjoyed, didn't enjoy, Carlo? Any notes from the film that you'd like to get off your chest?
I feel like the guy who ran the business that they went to work for.
Yeah, Paige Harrell, dick full of diamonds, mouthful of concrete.
Yeah, that was just such a...
Tims and Skins, everybody. Oh, that's good
stuff. I am back.
This is textbook heat madness that we're seeing here. Can you crack a window, Tim?
No, there's no windows to crack. This thing's
door,
just a little-
perhaps?
Yeah. Look, hey, we're in the middle of a record here, fellas. Come on. Treat the podcast with a little bit of integrity, if you would.
Well, you treated your co-host with a little bit of freaking respect. As Tim said that, he executed a terrifying crash zoom right back into his eyeball.
Oh, wow.
So the character of Paige Harrell.
Yeah, it's a very odd scene. He's holding a baseball bat the whole time. He's banging things. He's talking about how to make money. It's a terrifying... Like, I don't understand how they thought they were the good guys in that scenario. Like, your boss is literally... He's got a bat and he's telling you that land is the key to success. No good person does a briefing for new employees holding a baseball bat, other than maybe a baseball coach or a baseball bat salesperson.
Is it possible that was his original job, his original calling in life?
It's his lucky bat. I don't know. You guys would know this from the exposition, but is it perhaps a lucky bat?
Well, they don't really delve too deeply into Paige's relationship to bats. But I agree. I mean, I think if I went to a new job and my boss was walking around with an envelope full of cash stuffed down his underpants and a baseball bat while waxing lyrical about fucking precious stones, I'd be like, yeah,
It was supposed to be a speech about capitalism and how great it is, which harkens back to the film's original discussion of the Russian Revolution. But he kind of gets sidetracked by the sexual allure of diamonds, which women have known about for thousands of years, akin to Carlo Ritchie's getting led astray from a career of taxidermy into a destitute existence of drowning cats in a tub.
Yeah, it all comes back full circle, doesn't it? Much like Baba Yaga will curl up into a sort of a circle to scare Russian children.
And what was the song that Baba Yaga would sing to scare that famous Russian folk song that Baba Yaga would sing?
It's Moya Jatko Bendel.
Yeah. Such a conversational singing style, Baba Yaga. Sort of a real forebear for Bob Dylan, I understand. Okay, no more ice.
Tim's gone wild.
Tim, you're not even thinking about what we're talking about. You're just trying to figure the most interesting angles you can get on your camera.
I am thinking deeply about Baba Yaga. I want to hear the song. I know it's not coming. I don't know where to go with it.
Hey, don't spin it, man.
I don't know how to get my disappointment at Carlo Ritchie, guest on the podcast. I don't know how to express it properly.
Well, how about if Carlo won't sing us a song, Tim? How about we treat Carlo to a little song of our own?
Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. Getting sentimental with James Reed.
Oh, yeah. So, you will have noticed in your 55 screenings of this film that James Reed is insistent upon giving a gift to Zaccoli. James Reed from The Feelers, of course. A sentimental gift contained within a MacBook Pro box. It's a self-serving gift. This is what we know. Carlo, would you like to suggest to us, in the context of the film, as you saw it today, what you think might be the gift contained within that box?
I think it's the leftover cake. Like, it's just what's left over from the cake scene. He's packed it up. There you go. Remember that time I got drunk and threw some cake on the counter? Here's the rest of it. I want you to have it. It's self-serving because it gets this fucked cake out of my house.
Wait a minute. Doesn't he get the... Now, I really should know this. Doesn't the cake thing happen after?
Yeah, but the cake thing does happen after.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, but as Carlo knows, I was telling him about that extra bit of exposition we saw in the behind-the-scenes stuff. There was this huge subplot where Somley got addicted to baking cakes. And all of the drawers in the house, they were full of cakes.
Wait,
all of the cushions, she pulled out all the stuffing and filled them with beautifully baked cakes.
I thought the film was in reverse, so I thought the first scene was actually the last scene of the film.
Like a memento kind of thing.
Even so, it goes from within the absurd world we've created.
So it goes from a guy who's a really good DJ, he's got a new song, and he forgets over time. He forgets the song. He forgets what his life was about.
He revives his
He
friend.
revives his friend.
There was a very funny thing where
I'll be the judge of that.
where after he gives the sentimental gift full of cake, James Reed says to Zaccoli after telling him he's going to be playing Summerfest, "You better get that track ready." And then Carlo said, "And several others."
Yeah, hard out. One track does not a set make, eh? Even an opening set, you can't just bang on 3 minutes of nonsense and go, "All
Even
right,
that
thanks
last-
everybody."
Even that last speech of, every DJ starts with one song, and then he just goes on rambling. I said to Guy, every DJ starts with one song, then another,
Yeah.
and then a third, and then a fourth song, and then sometimes they'll play as many as 20, 30
It's like-
songs in a night.
Justice
It's not
Justice isn't allowed to call itself a house cop for a single arrest. There's got to be a what do you call it, like a trend of behaviour, It's not just a one-off. I could make an arrest, a citizen's arrest. I could do one of those. Doesn't make me one cop.
Carlo can't explain away the bevy of dead cats and kittens in his house by saying, no, I'm a taxidermist, on the evidence of one failed attempt at taxidermy.
And the business cards.
Yeah, the business cards, I think, are probably your strongest defence, Mr.
That's
Ritchie.
the alibi.
Actually,
Though now
what
having
you
said it.
What you need to do, Carlo, is twink out the ED in failed and put an ING, changing the tense, which means you are a taxidermist still.
Yes,
They can't arrest you then.
It's so funny for anyone in any career to have a business card that says failing career.
Whoa, shit.
Can you imagine meeting them at a networking event?
I'm trying hard.
God damn it. I'm giving it everything I've got, but it's just not working out for me.
Hey, what do you do? I'm a failing accountant.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what's the market for that? Really
Not good.
failing businesses. It's a
Everything I've
pyramid
got going
scheme.
for me is this overwhelming self-awareness. You'd think I'd use it to try a different career, but accountancy's all I almost know.
I can do my taxes moderately well, and that's keeping me above water.
Sometimes I wish I was a failed accountant, but
Just so the madhouse would end.
just to feel sweet release from this career I'm shackled to.
That poor bastard. It's like Squirrel's scar-obsessed spirit forever stalking the grounds of justice, the house cop. It's the same thing,
Oh,
that
man.
eternal imprisonment. Bloody sucks
Yeah.
is what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
Hey, I'll
It's
tell you
annoying
what
being a
scene...
ghost.
I'll tell you a scene that really stuck out. I don't know what you just last said just then, Guy, and frankly, I don't care. But, man, having breakfast in the morning, they are so fucking chipper. Here's how I think that scene would have worked if it was a little more realistic. They were obviously doing a bit of drinking the night prior, and they were doing a lot of drugs. And they got all horned up, and they had sex with each other.
We
Even
don't know
though...
that for certain.
Oh, fuck. All right, well, they've, at a minimum, fooled around to the extreme. Will you give me that? Will you concede that? Okay.
I will concede that they were fooling around.
To the extreme.
Please give him
okay,
that.
To
Give him
the
that.
extreme.
So then you wake up in the morning and you'd feel rubbish from the booze. You'd be coming down from the drugs. You'd be guilt-ridden because you've just had sex and you are either someone who's already in a relationship or someone whose mentor is the person who's in the relationship with the other person. And then you wouldn't be sitting down at the breakfast table, right? Like, it's kind of set up nicely for them to play it for reals because everything's very beautiful. It's kind of dimly lit, and that's the bit where all the heaviness would fall upon you. In that moment, you go, "Oh God, we fucked up," and I feel dreadful. And I'm about to go to the bathroom and absolutely devastate that porcelain machine. But before that, my heart is heavy with woe and guilt, and I don't know how we're going to get out of this. And there they are, stuffing their mouths with flapjacks and, delivering terrible
Improvising up a
half-cooked
storm.
lines.
Yeah, it is an odd scene. The breakfast scene. Also, I don't know what purpose it serves in that. I didn't need to know that they ate breakfast. If
But
it's
you get
fine to
worried
show-
about-
like,
Okay, you say that, but I've watched a screening of that film without that scene, and the whole thing falls apart from there.
falls over.
Well, yeah, because they both go to drive back to Los Angeles,
And you
but
think-
they
but you just
crash
ordered-
because they're exhausted.
Oh boy.
That scene is vital to the lifeblood of the film.
Oh god.
What? Tim's just lost his phone camera. I wish you could have seen the video on this podcast. It has been a real fucking journey.
It's been a treat for me.
Yeah, look, I reckon, I'm going to say it, Tim, I'm worried about your health. I think the sooner we cap this record, the sooner you can get out there and get some
Get
fresh
him
air.
out. Yeah.
I need to hydrate. Fuck yeah, man. I need some water, eh? In a big way.
You know, those things aren't mutually exclusive. You can have both.
In fact, some would say that they are precursors to each other.
Yeah, but we'd call those people nerds and stuff them in their locker and fill it with shaving foam.
I forgot this was such a jocular podcast.
That's right. Have you got anything else you'd like to share before we put a pin in it, Tim?
Yeah, kiss my ass, Guy Montgomery. You're a real piece of shit.
I tell you what, this week when I get back into the country, one of the first things I'll do, I'll make a beeline for your butthole and I'll pucker up. Carlo, any parting thoughts or wisdom you'd like to share?
Look, it's an interesting film. Watch it at your leisure, I guess, and just be responsible with drugs, I guess.
Carlo.
You say be irresponsible or responsible?
Little column A, little column B.
Carlo.
Mm-hmm.
What would you rate the film out of 17?
Oh, that's look, I'm gonna give it. It's got some very interesting sequences. I'm gonna give it 11.
That's high. You know that's high. Within 10 minutes, you turned to me and said, "How have you watched this?"
Yeah, but I can imagine a world in which I could just blank it out of my memory and watch it again.
That's not a reason to give it an 11 out of 17 score for the screening you just experienced.
Every film that I've ever ranked out of 17, if I can blank it out and watch it again, I've given them 11, and it'd be unfair to the metric.
But you're not measuring
It'd be
the film on
unfair
its
to the
merits.
Matrix. It'd be unfair to the Lord of the Rings. It'd be unfair to Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, all which got 11 out of 17.
Well, you are a strange man, but you steam a good ham. I don't really have anything else to say. Carlo, if people want to find you online and follow your life
Get a
very
warrant.
closely.
Get a warrant.
Okay.
Yeah. You've got two chances. Get a warrant or get Justice, the house cop.
That's
If you
right.
can find her, if you need her. And I can't remember the rest of the A-Team intro. Oh, fuck. I can't even remember the last bit of the A-Team intro. Dang it.
Now, if people want to find me online, there's a bakery in Chippendale. It's a suburb here in Sydney. If they ask there, they'll begin a journey that many have walked and few have finished.
Well, that's it from us for this week. Be safe out there, everyone.
Goodbye.
This movie's still fine. One of them dies, that goes Squirrel. One of them's a hottie, his name is Jay. One of them looks like Johnny Depp, and his name is Johnny Depp.
Classic Maximum Joseph.
You forget that films are supposed to have a point.